It's been a while since I dabbled in the NES library, so I thought I'd take a minute to revisit all 30 black box games and spill my thoughts. 10-Yard Fight is a stripped-back version of football, which I've come to appreciate after fumbling over contemporary versions of electronic video gridiron. There's 2 side passes, a wide receiver, tackles, and interceptions, which is just enough substance so that anyone could quickly familiarize themselves and get some skin in the game. Balloon Fight is a cross between Lunar Lander and Joust, with the added benefit of simultaneous 2-player. The A button is used to manually flutter, while the B button can be held for a steady flap. There's an extra 1-player mode called Balloon Trip, which is about seeing how far you can get while avoiding a buzzkill. Some of the features in baseball are implemented decently, such as pitching, batting, and base running, but frustration occurs when it comes to playing the field. This set a precedent for decades to come, of CPU fielders struggling to communicate who has the ball. Play as the Houston Astros to enable cheating. Clue Clue Land, not to be confused with Ku Klux Klan, is about hanging onto poles and revealing coins to make a picture. The random stages keep the experience fresh, along with its unique and satisfying controls. It's one of the best 2-player experiences on the Nintendo, and the arcade version contains even more levels. The NES version of Donkey Kong is missing a stage from the arcade game. The jumping mechanics are rigid, you can't climb ladders with the hammer, and the level design misses opportunities that give a false sense of decision. Donkey Kong is a shoddy port of an overrated game, and the far superior Game Boy edition addresses these issues. Donkey Kong Jr. is a more faithful port to the arcade classic. Climbing 2 vines is quicker than 1, which is the opposite of real life. And DKJ has a rather bulky hitbox, but I like the levels better, especially the final stage with the padlocks, so I don't know why they couldn't fit 4 levels into the first game. Donkey Kong Jr. Math is the only game in the NES educational series. There's a single-player mode where you do arithmetic the slow way, and a 2-player mode where you grab numbers and operators to complete the value. It's not a bad 2-player game by any means, but could have benefited from additional stage layouts. Donkey Kong 3 is a confusing departure from the DK series. The objective is to squirt an enema up the gorilla's ass so that he climbs to the next level. My main issues are the uneven difficulty and the lack of couch co-op. This game could have been a sleeper hit with 2 players proctologing in tandem, but instead it's just a sleeper. Duck Hunt is a game where you hold your zapper directly up to the television instead of standing the recommended distance away. 1 duck, 2 ducks, and trap shooting were all you got in the mid-80s. And since the inclusion of Duck Hunt Dog and Smash Brothers, I'm curious why they haven't rebooted the IP into a new fleshed-out title. Excitebike has 2 acceleration buttons, regular and ultra. Using the turbo too much will cause your bike to overheat. This simple concept went a long way, especially with the track editor. They even developed a remake for WiiWare in 2009. So a new release with even more obstacles included would be a welcomed addition. Black Box Golf contains the minimum amount of visual content to be identified as golf. There's a bird's eye view of the course, a power meter, and a variety of clubs. They don't tell you how strong each one is, so the enjoyment comes from familiarizing yourself with how far they hit. So have fun yanking through this dated interface. GUMSHOE could have been an NES classic. That's if anyone knew what the hell a GUMSHOE was, or if they had a save feature back in the day, because GUMSHOE is a tough and long light gun game. But thanks to emulation, the game actually plays better than its initial incarnation, especially with a mouse and save states. But that'll just be our little secret. GYROMISE is sort of like Loadrunner, where you trot around the level collecting stuff and avoiding idiots, but included a physical robot that operated a second controller to open doors for you. They didn't even bother to fix the title screen. It was a failed gimmick and a waste of time. Just map 2 extra buttons to your gamepad and be done with it. HOGAN'S Alley features 3 shooting games that use the NES Zapper. In the first 2, you need to shoot all the old people, women, and cops, while letting the criminals get away. The 3rd game tests your marksmanship against floating beer cans. HOGAN'S Alley makes a great drinking game, so go hard. Ice Climbers falls short of its potential because of its wonky controls. Things are slippery as expected, but the tiny margin of horizontal air travel is just too cramped for most people to enjoy. Couch co-op quickly devolves into couch chaos, but Ice Climbers never reached its peak, and would benefit from a reboot with solid controls. Kung Fu is all about kicking dragons, abusing children, and punching guys in the dick. Finding your rhythm provides a sense of accomplishment that's enhanced by its sound effects and musical overture. There's a black guy on the 3rd floor who does a lot of damage, so keep playing footsie with him until he falls over. Mach Rider has a good sense of speed, but the controls are a little weird for first-timers. You need to shift gears by pressing up and down on the D-pad to adjust your acceleration, and watch out for the bad guys in your rearview mirror. There's also a course editor, but it could have been more intuitive to use. Thanks anyway, I guess. Mario Bros. Is the often overlooked arcade predecessor to Super Mario Bros. It's pretty unique considering what was already out there. Who would have thought that slamming your head against the ceiling to knock out turtles and crabs would have been so compelling? Along with a 2-player mode that puts this game over the top and makes it a must-play for the next generation. I've played so much pinball that it's hard for me to give a good read on the original NES attempt at digitizing this classic pastime. The ball and flipper physics were pretty good considering its age, but not being able to nudge is a limitation that I have trouble going back to. But the layout was designed around this, so it's all good. Popeye is everything Donkey Kong should have been, and then some. There are 3 levels where you go around collecting stuff that drops from the sky, while avoiding the fat guy and eating grass. I noticed they removed the pipe from his mouth in-game, but kept it on the cover art. If someone could do a graphics patch, I'll be more than happy to play it. Pro wrestling is pretty amateur all things considered, but it's still passable by today's standards, especially when compared to the latest WWE games. Each fighter has its own special like the Amazon biting your ear off, and you can even get thrown out of the ring, and jump from the corner post, so there's enough entertainment going on to keep playing. Slalom is a dumb name, and they should have just called it skiing. There's 24 courses spread across 3 mountains with a variety of enemies and obstacles. The controls are smooth, and the speed is based, and there's enough forgiveness in learning the course that it's never too frustrating to hit the slopes and go slaloming. The object of soccer is to stumble around a green void in a tiny Speedo, while kicking your legs up in the air like you're doing the can-can. The reason I hate real football is because all I see is grown men taking dives and pretending they've been fouled so they can get a free kick. I'll never watch another World Cup match again. Stack Up includes 3 games where you jump on panels to induce a seizure. You're supposed to use Rob the Robot with the colored discs that everyone threw away, and read the instruction manual, which no one has time for. Video games should be fun and intuitive, not cumbersome and confusing. Super Mario Bros. Should be a litmus test on whether your child is going to be successful in life. The game is so compelling that anyone should be able to push through, and the difficulty is perfectly spread across 32 levels with the added benefit of warp zones that award cheating. If your kid can't beat Super Mario by age 8, consider trading him in. Tennis would have been better if I could get an actual read on the hitbox of the racket. Most of my games end in a washout, one way or another. The manual claims there are 8 different types of shots, but I don't believe it. If I took the time to get good, I wouldn't be able to make this video. Screw tennis. Urban Champion takes to the streets where you beat up your opponent outside barbershops and bookstores. There's strong and weak punches that can be thrown high or low, and pressing back dodges. People throw flower pots out windows, which is an even more heinous crime. And knocking your opponent into a manhole provokes a woman to start littering. Volleyball is a sport where unpaid athletes dry hump a rolled up sock while the audience looks away in disgust. On-court action was fairly sophisticated for the time, but explaining it is beyond the scope of this video. Just know that out of all the NES sports games, volleyball isn't the worst you can have in your black box collection. Wild Gunman is a fairly tame version of Quick Draw, but instead of blasting your opponent's arm off, their pants fall down. There's 1-man, 2-man, and Saloon Battle, which is about the same amount of content you get in Duck Hunt, but less than Hogan's Alley, putting Wild Gunman somewhere in the middle. Wrecking Crew is an action puzzle game that starts off fun, but can become frustrating later on. The only issue is that you can permanently screw up stages and be forced to restart, so take a minute to pause and learn the layout. There's 100 phases plus a certified level editor, which demolished most of the NES launch titles. This wraps up the original 30 black box games released in North America. If you enjoyed this video, try sharing it with your ugly friends. And if you want my hot take on any other retro games, try dropping a line in the comments. And be sure to open this video in multiple tabs and let it play over and over again.